Here's that resistor board I pulled out. Don't go by the color codes. The documentation on riders has the colors of the resistors. These are 100K, two of them. This one is a 10K. This one is a 30K. Here's an RF choke. There's a 1 meg. I can pretty much see the green in that. And this one is a 14,300 ohm. It doesn't. I couldn't tell you what it's supposed to be. Brown and white is what the documentation says. But I've checked these, and every one of these is going to have to be changed. The 100Ks are running about I can't even talk. Reading about 145K. The 10K is running close to 14K. The 30K is running 48K. Now the RF choke here is supposed to read 80 ohms, and it's reading 84.9 at 15.5 millihenries. So that's good. So that's the only thing we won't have to worry about. The 1 meg is running about 2 meg, 1.9 or something like that. And then this 14,300 100 ohm 14.3K is reading right around 7K. So that is right in the main part of the B plus. So that's probably supplying a lot of extra voltage. But so every one of these is going to have to be replaced. Clean the board up and replace those things. Alright, we'll do that, and I'll show you the progress on that. It's just a little, it's really a cardboard-like board. It's not really substantial. You can see it's kind of warped, and you can see it flex a little bit. I'm kind of scared of it, but if I'm gentle with it, I think it'll be okay. Took some time to take the old components off. They checked them. They pretty much all shot. This one especially, as you can tell, looks like somebody tried to do some repair. Got friction tape on it, and looks like some other high voltage tape wrapped around a resistor. I don't know if that was an attempted repair or just to keep it from hitting this bracket here. But I cleaned up the terminals, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of junk on there. And in the past, I have tried to repair around this stuff, and it's just not worth it. It's really not worth it. You can see I cleaned the terminals up and put on a new wire, and so now I've got to go back and put some resistors on here. Like I say, the RF choke is good. I'll double check that again through all the desoldering and cleanup, make sure that it's still okay. But I'll show you in a sec when through the magic of video the finished product. Got the board rebuilt. Check the resistance, and it all checks out, including the RF choke. So I'll set this in a safe place because I've got to attack this stump full of granddaddies. I think the next thing I'm going to go after is this capacitor condenser, tuning condenser. So, okay, let's get to it. This dial is pretty straightforward. There's a friction drive, piece of rubber that drives this, and all this wheel does is there's some teeth here, and that rubber makes makes that turn. Only thing, this is not really that complicated. There's a set screw here and here that you must take out, and it should slide right off. In theory, it'll come on. Maybe I didn't get it far enough. There we go. This is not, I thought this chassis being so thick that it would be, oh man, that's going to be great. But it's small. Okay. I'm going to have to look at these brass. I'm going to replace this dial. I've got one on order right now. But I don't know whether to use screws on that or try to get some brass rivets. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, and then it's not very much. There's 3 screws, and there's no grommets. And all you got to do is take that one out and loosen these 2, and it should slide back and drop after you take. Well, actually, this does not even have to come off for the capacitor, for the condenser. I keep wanting to call it a capacitor, and that's a condenser. Same thing, but if we're going to talk old radios, we're going to talk old radios. So, loosen that screw, take that screw out and loosen these, and it should pop out. And I believe on the top side there's only one connection. And I definitely do not want to mess with that coil any. So, let me do this off camera and drop this thing out. Well, as usual, there's always one screw, and you can see there's a lot of rust in this area. The screw is not wanting to cooperate. So what I've done is I went ahead and disconnected the wire going to the tuning condenser. The only thing that's connected now is the antenna and the ground and the grid cap. So this coil should come right out. Don't want to lose all this hardware, so I'll set that aside. But the big thing is I want to get this out of the way so that I don't damage it, because there's no telling what I'm going to have to do to get that thing out, but it definitely has to come out. So we'll address that. I'm letting it soak a little bit, and I needed to get that coil off there anyway to be able to clean this chassis and do some work on these cans and all this stuff. That'll just make life a little easier. And sometimes in life we get dealt some stuff. But it's just like John from Arkansas, just take your time. You're not in a hurry. This screw, I soaked it in WD-40. I took a screwdriver and a hammer and mechanically agitated it, and I could not get that to turn loose. I never twisted, the screw off or anything like that, or even boogered the head to the point that it wouldn't work. Then I tried some vice grips to take it off. Couldn't get it off. So what I ended up doing is taking a Dremel tool and dremeling it off. And now, I went ahead and took the capacitors off to allow more room. And when I was there, let me show you something here. When I was taking these off, these are the Mershon wets, and when I took them off, I told you these caps come off. Well, I don't know if you can see down in there or not, but someone has rebuilt that. Now, I'm not really sure how they done it, simply because the technique I've seen in the past is they drill this out and bring the positive down to here. But apparently they were able to get this out. Maybe. I don't know. We will see when I get around to that. But I thought that was interesting. So we'll attack those at a later time. But let's go ahead and I went ahead and desoldered the condenser wires going up to the coil, and yeah, I think both of them goes to the coil. And then the top one, I removed that coil up on top also, so I'd have room to work without damaging it. And so let's see what I'm going to have to do. Let's see. You need a screwdriver. Now remember those screws. Well, it's hard to do this without knocking out the view. But the other two screws came out okay, but they're the ones that's supposed to just loosen up. And hopefully I can remove that without twisting it off, what I ground off. If it does, then maybe. Now that should slide this way and drop out. That's in theory. In theory. Come on. Oh, there it is. Alright, there we go. And then this falls over, tears everything else up. But now we will end up removing. This is the capacitors, the RF bypass capacitor can. We'll end up taking that off and melting the tar. I was thinking, well, maybe we can do it on the bottom. There's not enough room in there to cuss a cat without getting hair in your mouth. So anyway, we'll end up taking that off, getting that out. We may end up taking this off, but nonetheless, it'll give us a good opportunity to clean this chassis up really, really good. And like I said earlier, I'd say 90% of this wire is going to have to be replaced. So, one step at a time. Michael from That Tube Sound sent me an email, and he told me that patience, grasshopper, patience. And that's true. You just take one thing at a time, replace one thing at a time, and just work steady. I'm in no real hurry, and so there we go. All right, let me try to see if we can get this nut or this screw out of the capacitor. Sprayed that again with some WD-40, and I've got my vice grips on it. It's a pretty soft screw, so I've got to be really gentle with it. It looks like it's turning, so up, and it slipped off. But I think I can get it out. And got to replace the screw anyway. Ta-da! All right. Trash. Have to go to the store and get some more. But this will give me an opportunity to clean this up. It looks like, oh, it's really tight in there too. Really tight, so. Parts of critters in there. But that's really tight. We'll do the usual lube. You can see the bearings down in here. And the cleaning, it's not that dirty, really and truly. It's in pretty decent shape. So I think just a good bath will do all this, and then do the lube job on it. Alright, I'm glad I got that out without incident. Only took me about an hour. Now we can get to work on some other stuff. Hey guys, I want to show you something I've never really seen before. But look at these tremors. That is sheets of mica underneath those, I guess, brass plates with a nut and a spring. It's kind of spring loaded there, and as you tighten or loosen that nut there, it changes the capacitance on those tremors. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that before. Okay, there was a washer on that, and this is a self. It's not really nylon, but it doesn't slip. It's kind of like a nylon, but then we'll take the mica out, being careful not to get the threads to break it. Alright, we can clean those up, put those back in. I've cleaned the mica using Q-tip and alcohol, and you can see the difference against the paper towel. So you can, it's fairly clean. Just got to be really careful, because they are brittle. It's a piece of rock, pretty much. Very thin. So just take your time, and I always go over it with alcohol, and then I go over it with a Q-tip, and then a dry Q-tip to get the dirt off of it. Got the capacitor cleaned up, lubricated, new brass screws in it, new wire. Clean that up. Clean the mica. Doesn't look half bad. Alright, I think we're going to finish this up today. As you can see, the chassis is cleaned up a little bit, not much, just the dirt. But next time we come back, we'll take the RF bypass capacitor can, get those, rebuild that, and we will answer the question: is the audio interstage secondary open in this? So tune in next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all my new subscribers. And from Larry, from the hills of Tennessee, thanks for watching.